Well then, hi, my name is Patterson, fiance of Sherelle Jackson here, and welcome to another episode of, I guess you could call this, compelling story time.
Yes, very compelling story time.
So, today's episode is about how I proposed to this beautiful young lady right here. Let's get started. So, some backstory. Our anniversary for when we started dating is actually coming up, and that is on
August 19th?
That's right. So we will be hitting, 4 years?
Yes.
4 amazing, crazy, trying years.
Yes.
That we have somehow not strangled each other, mostly her not strangling me. That being said,
Sometimes I do.
I loved her since forever, since literally the beginning. And of course, as you guys all know, she'd had an accident, and so obviously that put things behind as far as getting engaged and things like that. Those are pretty trying times, but clearly we decided to stick it out together, right? Instead of her trying to leave me, because even though people always say, she's blessed to have me, at the end of the day, the truth of the matter is that she takes care of me more than I take care of her. That's a whole other story. So now that you guys have that under your belts as far as information, let's go to the beginning of planning. So initially I decided I was going to propose on our anniversary. I thought this was going to be amazing. She wouldn't expect it. And as I got closer to the date, closer to August, so this is, June 20th, somewhere around that time, I realized something really interesting. I realized that people probably expect me to propose to her in, August, because our anniversary is coming up. It's gonna be 4 years. So let's see. I was like, well, cool. I'm gonna do that. And once I got that epiphany, I decided I'm gonna do it early. But this proposed some challenges. Made it really challenging. I wasn't quite ready as far as what ring I was going to get. I wasn't 110% sure of what size. And you really got to be 110% sure with these things, because once you mess up and you get the wrong size and you go to get engaged, that's a whole nother story. Combine that with the issues we're having with coronavirus. That means we can't go to the same restaurant we went to for our anniversary, which is where I wanted to go, which is Ocean Air, one of my favorite restaurants. Beautiful place. Yes.
Love it.
Yeah,
that's great.
We have some pictures. Maybe we'll add those. Well, actually, I guess it's pictures of us separate. I don't think we have any pictures together.
Yeah, because it was our first, official. I don't know. We were hanging out and stuff, but only for.
Yeah, that's where I asked
maybe
you to be my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a month. We may have been hanging out for about a month, and then he was like, lock it down.
Because of coronavirus, I was a little concerned that things might turn out a little differently than I would like to, as far as the type of people who might be there, about the type of service they might be giving. Although they have always held themselves to a high standard, I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't want to ruin what I thought would be a really amazing day on chance, right? So I changed it up a little. I said, well, what can I do during this coronavirus-ridden time to make it really special for her, because she deserves that, And I decided on something that I knew should work out. So let me tell you how I got there. I went to Costco. I saw the ring that I wanted, that I knew she would want, I guess I should say. Beautiful ring. Clearly she has it on her finger now. And I was like, this is an amazing ring. It's the color she wants. It's beautiful stone, and she's gonna absolutely love it. I fell in love with the ring right away, and I was like, okay, so I have to get the ring. I finally go up there, ready to get the ring, and I talked to one of my counterparts that worked there, and I was telling her, hey, what do you think about this ring? She's like, no, it's a beautiful ring. She's gonna love the ring. She's like, well, what size is she? Because Costco only sells size 7. I was like, she's a size 7. She's like, well, you've got to be one of the luckiest people in the world, because the ring can only be sized a half size down, from what I understand. And if that's the case, clearly if she was anything outside of that, I would not have been able to get that ring. However, it all worked out. I got the ring. I was super excited, and that day, I decided I was like, I'm gonna go and talk to her parents. Okay, so I went to her.
So wait, you got the ring on the same day that you went and talked to my mom and dad?
Yes.
Oh wow, I thought that you had the ring, so you were moving quickly with this.
Yes, and that was the same day that I had a flat tire going to get the ring.
Yeah.
Yes. So I had been looking for the ring and at different places, right? And then Costco just happened to have the ring that was like even more amazing than the ring I initially wanted. So let me clarify that. And so I'm getting that ring, and on the way to go get that ring, I get a flat tire. Like I'm sweating outside. I'm like, how am I supposed to tell my girlfriend where I am without like her, being like, oh, normal questions that might instigate even more questions. Right? You gotta keep it on the low. I don't want her to have any suspicions that this might be going on.
I didn't have any suspicions because I like to hang out outside because it's warm out there. Usually the AC gets really cold in the summer inside, which is totally fine because it's hot outside. So I was hanging out outside and he pops up on me and he's like kind of sweaty. He's like, yeah, I just got a flat tire, but I just want to come by to say hey, I was in the area. And I'm like, okay, cool. We chatted for a minute and it seemed totally normal besides him getting the flat tire. I was like, well, I hope you get it fixed and everything, and let me know if you need help fixing it or anything. And
yeah, so she's always been really supportive of just anything that happens to me or anything that I want to support others with. She's always been supportive. So that made it a little easier. She's just more concerned about me having a flat tire than anything. She was just happy that popped up. She didn't expect me that day. So my reasoning for coming over is because I want to ask her mom. So for permission to marry her, and so of course I have to find a way to do that even though she's at the house. So I come in the house, and luckily enough her mom is having an issue with her tire. It seems like it's a balancing issue. So when we go outside, I was like, I'm like, come here Miss Andrea, come here. She's like, why are you taking me to the car? You clean your car again? I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. Notoriously messy car.
I spend a lot of time in my car.
It's a bit of a pack rat.
Her mom has an issue with the tire. We go outside. I pull it to my car. Clearly my car's not clean, but I pull out the ring inside the box. And she's like, oh my God, no, are you kidding me? She's like, really? She's like, oh my God. She's like, I thought maybe you would do it, but maybe like around, your anniversary or her birthday, or like maybe next year. I was like, no, I'm doing it. She's like, when are you gonna do it? I'm like, tomorrow.
Done.
She's like, what? She's like, oh my God, So of course I asked, and she's like, yes. And I'm like, I'm trying to get in touch, with her dad. Can you help me because he's not answering his message? She's like, I think he just got off. And so you clearly see I'm like trying to get it done. Like I don't play. He finally messaged me back, and I'm like, okay, sweetie, I gotta go. She doesn't know where I'm going, but I'm going.
Yeah, luckily he already told me. He's like, I'm just stopping by. So, because otherwise I'd be like, why are you only here for less than an hour and you're leaving now? What are you doing? But yeah, so crazy.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, cool. I go to her, her dad finally answers the phone. He's like, oh, why don't you guys come by the house? He lives really close to me in Snellville, so I'm like, okay, cool. I'll just go by there and I'll talk to him. I'll go by there, I wrap the ring, which is in the ring box, into a shirt, and I walk into the house because the door's already open. He's in the basement, and I'm like patting my head because I'm sweaty. I'm nervous, and also it's hot outside. Okay, we are in Georgia, to be clear.
Yeah.
So it is hot, so I have an excuse to have a hat. To have a shirt. And I get down there, hey, how you doing? I'm nervous now. I ain't gonna lie. Which is funny because I wasn't as nervous with your mom. Maybe because I knew that she would say yes.
Yeah.
There was a high possibility.
Yeah.
But dads are always tougher to deal with. I think the standards of everything is higher.
Yeah.
And
I guess just by nature they're hard
right?
to deal with. And not like him and my dad have any problems. No. My parents love him and he knows that. So it's almost like you knew you were gonna get a yes, but
no, that's the thing I talk about when I go back and I talk about it in retrospect. You're like, oh yeah, well, you knew she was gonna say it. I'm like, no.
Yeah,
I was pretty sure, but you never know. You see horror stories, you see all sorts of crazy things. What I might think would be a perfect working relationship with vast amounts of communication and love and care, to her might be something completely different.
True.
I hope it isn't, but you never know. So when people say that, I'm like, no. And I think it's that type of thinking that keeps our relationship really well put together, I should say. Because we're constantly thinking, are we doing our best to take care of each other?
Yeah.
And with that mindset, it's hard to go wrong. It's hard to slip up and start getting lax, right? And start not caring as much, or doing as much, or supporting as much. And on both sides of the pictures. While I do more physical stuff for her, she does a lot of mental things for me that help keep me intact. And for me, that's important. And for the things for her, that might be important as well. And
Yeah.
I really always appreciate that. So I'm down there, right? Like I said, sweating. I got my little shirt with the ring in it. And I sit down. I was like, hey, yo, how you doing, man? It's good to see you. I'm surprised you messaged me and, you want to come down. I was like, yeah, well, you said the other day if I wanted to come by the house to come on and do it. I thought this would be the perfect day. I was like, hey, listen, I just came out here to, I'm going to be honest, I just came out here to ask you, listen, and if I could marry your daughter, man. And he talked to me. He's like, man, I wanted you to come and ask me if you were gonna do it, and I appreciate that. He said some things. He was almost crying, almost made me cry, and and then at the end of the day, he told me yes, and that made me super happy. I have never been a traditional person. This is because I grew up in foster care, so I don't have those same ideas and same logic that you may have growing up with one or both of your biological parents. I grew up with many people. And one of the things that my family that I have, that I consider my family, my brother told me a long time ago, which is so funny because he's always like a ridiculous person, so it's hard to get him serious, but one of the most serious things he's ever said to me so long ago was that friends are your family when you have none. And so for me, in a normal sense, asking someone, can I marry their daughter, wasn't as important to me as I'm sure it was to the parents, to her parents. And I'm just happy I did it at the end of the day, because seeing how much it meant by to both of them was just astounding. In my mind, my love is no one else's business. That's the truth of it all. I don't care what other people say. I don't care what other people do. My love for her is my love for her. No one else can come between it. Fast forward to the next day, and
No, I just want to insert a little snippet of my part of the engagement here. So I was just sitting at home, hanging out with my mom and one of her friends, and my phone kept acting up. Like the service kept going in and out, but I had Wi-Fi, so I hit him up on Messenger, and I wanted to hang out with him Saturday because I guess since he was planning this, he had been like a little MIA. Like I hadn't really hung out with him for a while, and I was like, it's gonna be Saturday, like, when he gets off work, maybe we can hang out or something like that. So I asked him what he was doing, and then he's like, he might go downtown and look at the city. And I'm like, okay, well, since I was in Shepherd Center, sometimes after he gets off work, he will go down there and get the breakfast and eat on the rooftop. And I'm like, okay, maybe he's gonna do that. So I was like, oh, that's nice, it's gonna be good. And he's like, maybe you should come with me and we should get dressed up and go down. I'm like, okay, like, sure, why not? But then, like, it started to hit in the back of my mind. I was like, is he gonna propose? Or are we just going out? So, I slept halfway okay that night, but you continue. So fast forward to Saturday.
So Saturday, I'm nervous. I'm like, do you have the ring? Yes. Is the ring the right size? Yes. Are you 110% sure? I'm like 109%, so I'm still nervous. Okay. Is the box felt too big? The ring, everything just changed about how I felt about everything. I'm like, oh God, is this gonna be good enough? Knowing darn well that she's never been materialistic, but for me, I want it to be perfect for her. I'm totally fine. And so I'm like, okay, cool. I was like, what we can do? I told her, hey, we can go down to Skyview. We can get on the Skyview Ferris wheel. So everybody gets their own, which is nice. So you don't have to worry about coronavirus or anything like that. And it's more private. It's air conditioned, so no matter how hot it is.
And it's accessible. If anybody was wondering that,
wheelchair.
The giant Ferris wheel downtown in Atlanta, and I think the company that makes those, they are accessible.
Yep.
The seats flip up and everything.
Yeah.
Roll right in there.
Roll right in there. Boom. It's morning. Ready. time to go. I'll walk outside. Tell me why the weather is the most beautiful freaking weather you could ever have. First of all, it's been hot the last couple of days, but it's warm, but it's nice and windy. It's breezy.
Yeah, the breeze
It's not a
was
cloud in the
perfect.
sky.
It was amazing.
And I'm just like, no way. I'm like, somebody got my back. Somebody appreciate it. You know, I'm like, bro, because here's one of the things that happens for her. You have to explain that a little bit more as far as how your temperature regulates.
Yeah, since I have a high cervical injury with my spinal cord injury, I'm unable to regulate my temperature. Like my homeostasis is totally thrown off. So my blood pressure and my temperature, I'm unable to regulate them. So I'm kind of like, if you would think of me as like cold-blooded, like a reptile. So if I'm cold, I physically need to be warmed up. My body's not going to keep itself warm. And if I'm hot, I physically need to be cooled down. I can go into hyperthermia or hypothermia extremely easy. Like it needs to be taken care of as soon as I start to feel those symptoms. So for me, being out in hot weather all day, it doesn't work. I can't sweat. Yeah. That's what I forgot to say. I can't sweat, so that I can't, cool myself down that way.
Like as in she physically cannot sweat.
I cannot sweat.
She doesn't have the capabilities to.
Yeah, which is really attractive, but it's not particularly healthy.
Actually, it is attractive because the funny thing is, I be sweating and then she be not sweating.
Yeah,
and I'm like, you know how that look on me? That being said, we start driving, we hit a little traffic, and the whole time, for some reason, I'm extremely calm. I'm like cool, calm, collected, telling jokes, doing my normal thing. And
so calm that I had no idea. I thought I had an idea because he's like, let's get dressed really nice. And when we were on the ride down there, we're like hitting traffic and stuff. I'm like,
oh, she knows I don't like traffic.
Yeah, I'm like, he doesn't like traffic. And then I'm like, if he was gonna propose to me today, he would be hyper anxious right now. Like,
so we hit traffic, which I hate. I am not a fan of traffic. I'll leave the house 4 hours early just to avoid it. This is not a joke. That being said, so we get up there, and then it's time to park. We find a parking place. Okay, great. Let's try to find a spot. And we find the spot immediately.
Yeah. Like, it's like, oh, where's the Ferris wheel? Over there. Where's the parking place? Over there. Like,
and it was perfect. It was ready. And the guy was like, nope, park right there. We didn't have to go over the hump, which we were worried about for the van.
Right.
Nothing. You couldn't make up how...
The space was literally empty next to us to let down my ramp. Like, we didn't even have to, like, worry about, oh, is it going to be accessible? Is there going to be room for the ramp? Like, yeah, everything just worked out.
Just amazing. Like, how many things just clicked. And I'm like, I don't even know why. Like, for me, I think I'm probably not nervous because I was so nervous to ask her parents that everything else seemed simple. Like, once you climb Mount Everest,
forget about asking me,
right? How hard is it?
What I say.
Oh, listen, how hard is it to climb, Stone Mountain? I'll fight you. So we finally get there, and as we go up, there's this guy who's offering sodas and stuff. He's like, hey, do you want a soda? Do you want a water or anything? I'm like, no, thank you. And it's cool. So we end up just keep going past, pay for the tickets, get the tickets. They're ready to let us on. I love it. No traffic as far as people standing in line.
It was quick.
The weather was cool, so it wouldn't even matter anyway. They let us around the back because, it makes us feel like VIPs.
And side note again, of course they were checking temperatures because that's protocol now. And so glad that the weather was good and it wasn't super hot, because since I can't regulate my temperature, if I'm hot, my temperature is going to go up. So I could have been 100 degrees and not technically got a fever, and then I'm like, oh, sorry, you can't get on. And I would have been sad.
So we get on, and I'm nervous because I have this whole plan. Okay? I got this whole plan. I'm like, well, when we get to the top, in my head, I'm like, I'm going to go up, we're going to get to the top, to the very tippy top, and I'm going to propose. That's what I'm going to do. Because, I like that. Now, knowing darn well that I've been on this thing before, and it doesn't stop, it just keeps going. So that means I have to, propose at the top, and it just keeps going as I'm proposing. Tell me why. Get on. It takes another person, right? So it stops. Get on. It takes another person to stop, and then it just goes. So it goes and it stops right at the top when I'm not ready. Because, why would I be? Because real life doesn't work out like that, clearly. And I am so nervous. But I'm like, whatever. It's go time. It's go time. You trained for this. I'm like, okay. All right. So I get on my knee, pull out the ring. Boom. I don't remember what I said though. But I do know that it was something like, hey, Sherelle, Jackson, will you marry me? And clearly she said,
I said yes.
And I was like, dope. Then, tell you how nervous I was. Even though I practiced this, I couldn't remember what finger to put it on. I ain't gonna lie about it. I was nervous. All this practice, all this training, out the window.
Can't lead up to the moment.
Right? And I'm like trying to remember what finger to put it on. Like, ooh. I'm hoping for a sign. Okay? Hoping for a sign. Right? Nope.
I had faith in him. I had faith.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna...
Then I got to the right finger, and I swear I heard the slightest something. Is it true? I don't know. But I heard something. And I went ahead and put that ring on that finger. And she was excited. And I knew it was the right finger. And then we looked to our left. And there are people in the next... What is it?
In the next little pod. And they're just cheering and clapping and everything. And we're like, oh my gosh, they saw the whole thing. Which is something you would expect in an engagement proposal pre-COVID when you're out in public. But being in that bubble, we kind of felt like we were alone, but we weren't. People saw and it was nice, and that just made us laugh and crack up even harder. And I felt like my cheeks were gonna literally fall off my face. It was too much.
Leaving the gate of the sky view, and you see the people who are heading out, who want to sell us sodas and waters. And like, oh yeah, you want a soda, water, whatever. And I'm like, no. Where's the good stuff? So the guy's like, all right. He opens his bag. He said, all right, I got 5 of these shots for $20. And I get 4 Long Island iced tea shots and 1 gin shot. Which, because it's something you don't like. Do you remember the name of it?
Taka. Oh my gosh.
Taka gin shot.
Taka. I was like, really, guy? Really?
Hey, you gotta have something for everybody. You can't be mad at this man. He's covering all his bases. Right? He's covering all his bases.
Taka's for nobody.
Wow. Anywho, so I get these shots, gave him his money, of course, and I was like, and she's like, yeah, we just got engaged. She's like, oh yeah. Actually, that's when he gave us the extra shot, because it's supposed to be 4 for 20.
Yeah.
And then he gave us the extra, and that's when I had got the gin. Now I'm a big fan of gin. I'm a big fan of Tanqueray. But either way, I was happy to get that extra freebie.
Yeah.
So we're like, we're gonna drink these, we're gonna celebrate. And he's like, yeah, congratulations. He's telling his wife, who's just chilling there, and I mean, she looked like a crackhead, but that's okay. We ain't concerned about that. We want to treat everybody with respect and and everything. I mean, she looked like a crackhead.
No, from the appearances, it did look like she used drugs or something. But I mean,
but we still liked her. Yeah, we thought she was awesome.
Yeah, she was sweet. She was, talking about, that's your queen, blah blah blah. Yeah, we're all for it.
And we were like, yeah, so we got our drinks and we go about our business. We started drinking them on the side. And when after I gave her shot, it's not gonna take mine. And Atlanta PD gonna roll by me. When I'm like, oh crap, I had to put the thing back in my blazer. And then after that, I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna have my shot. Yeah. We had a couple more shots together, right? We had the other 2.
Yeah, we celebrated.
Yeah, we celebrated. Yeah, we celebrated. And and that was how we did it.
I hope you guys subscribe to the channel and let us know what other videos ideas.
Don't you start with me. Yep.
And yes, thank you